These are the best cards to buy for Commander now that Standard is rotated.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, and you're looking at the fine names of the ladies and gentlemen that are on our Patreon, which you could join via description link.
Patreon is a way to support us directly and give us money. We will love you as much as we can without making you uncomfortable if you join our Patreon. Other ways to support us include our Dragon Shield link in the description below. They have the best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeves.
Good sleeves is right, Beezy. They're the best sleeves. We use them in all of our decks, and you should get some using our link in the description.
This channel is sponsored by Moxfield. There's going to be a mid-roll ad, but you're not going to be able to predict where it is, but I would encourage you to try so that I can shoot you down in the comments when you fail.
Everyone has been correct, and if you get it right, you cheated. And happy birthday to everybody whose birthday is today. Beezy, what are we doing today?
Standards rotated. We just did part 1 talking about Zendikar Rising and Call Time cards to pick up. And now we're going to talk about Strixhaven and D&D cards to pick up. And the one little tiny thing we're going to reiterate for this video is that Standard doesn't necessarily dictate the price of cards as much anymore. Nobody really plays that format. It's like kind of no one cares about it. So we're talking more about these cards are good to pick up now because who knows when they're going to get a reprint? Who knows when they're likely to go up or down? I think a lot of these have the potential to go up after now.
Especially if they do not get reprints. So let's hop right into it. In first set, Strixhaven. This is actually the third of the 4. If you want to check out our other video, you can check that one out. First, Wandering Archaic, currently $4. Now, me and BZ have said in the past, we're lower on Wandering Archaic than we were before. But I've heard lots of good things about this in higher power metas and CEDH metas. Like I've seen in CEDH lists. I can't speak to if it's really great up there, but I've heard nothing but good things. So if you're playing in those kind of metas, this is probably a good card to get.
We have played a lot of CEDH recently, at least fairly recently, and I know that like sometimes it's hard to pay for Ristic Study through a cantrip where you're like cast Preordain, now you can draw. So I would imagine Wandering Archaic gets a lot of value.
Yeah, and it's so much value. Like copying spells is gonna be quite like over the top because the spells being cast in the CEDH format are not things you want to see copied.
Yeah, I don't want to get my opponent to copy my Ad Nauseam or something.
Or anything. It's like Ad Nauseam, Demonic
Tutor,
all the tutors. Yeah, like there's so many cards that this thing will copy and it'll just be strong. In, again, higher power if you're playing a lower power, like combat meta, stay away from this card.
Yeah, but $4, I could see it going up. Semester's End, one of 100,000 ways to protect your creatures from a board wipe, but this one says they enter with a counter, and it's an extra mana.
Yeah, the main thing about this one and why I like it is it's really good on a budget.
Yeah, it's $1.
It's $1, and it also has synergy in counters decks, which is like, it's good board wipe protection and kind of works in counters decks, so you have that kind of synergy going.
Totally. Archmage Emeritus is like one of the go-to spellslinger cards these days. $5. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, you draw a card. I've loved this card. It feels like if I untap or can play it in the later turns when I have a lot of mana untapped normally, I just dominate the game.
Yeah, this card is really, really good. We've been telling you to play this since day one of it coming out. Like, it was definitely in our top 10 for cards in the set, and we're going to keep just telling you this is a great Magic card. $5. Who knows when it's going to get reprinted? It's Archmage Emeritus. I don't know how many Archmage Emeritus exist on other planes.
I don't think very many do, but it's like one of the only ways to even get this effect. There's no Beast Whisperer for spells. This is pretty much it.
Yeah, there's a million Beast Whisperers for creatures. They don't exist for spells, like you said. This is like the one and only, really. There's a lot for when your opponents cast spells, but not you. Next, Baleful Mastery. Another one I want to say, it's currently $1. It is a budget card. If you're off a budget, there's a lot of better kill spells, and you usually don't have to go down this low on the list. On a budget, 100%, I'm in for this card. It is only $1.
It's all right. I've seen it play pretty reasonably. 2 mana, permanently remove something, at least it exiles, and then giving away a card can be a bonus, can't be a downside. I found that it's mostly neutral. It feels kind of like the Arcane Denial of removal spells, but you're not really paying for much of a premium on rate unless you're on a budget, because otherwise I'll just play Snuff Out and Deadly Rollick and Lethal Scheme, which costs like 0 to 1 mana.
This has a lot of political value. If you're good at playing politics, you're giving a card away to any of the other 2 players that you remove something. You can either be like, hey, don't get as mad, I'll give you the card, or be like, all right, we still need to stop this person, I'll give you a card.
I've definitely been on the receiving end of like, okay, this card is stupid, it's dominating the game, take your card back. It's like, okay, I'll take my card. I know it needed to die.
Yeah. Next, Professor Onyx, currently $7. This is an okay Commander card. I think this is one where if you can untap with it, it pops off.
Oh, you're going to go ham.
You go absolutely off with this. And one of the reasons I like it and I suggest it for Commander is it does have the combo. the Chain of Smog combo. At least Professor Onyx as a Planeswalker is medium, and you do need to untap with it to really get your value. But the fact that there's just a 2-card infinite combo with this card gives it a little more oomph for the Commander format.
It kind of does like a Soul Shatter thing, so you can get your mana's worth back when you play it, or you can get your your bang for your buck. I like that it's only $7. Some of these Planeswalkers, not so much anymore because they're not special anymore, just completely mundane. I think Jaya was like $5 a week after the set was released, Dominaria. But this one kind of sees a lot of play. People love Liliana. It's only $7, so I would not feel bad about buying one.
Yeah, one of the coolest characters, even though it says Professor Onyx on it. Don't be fooled.
Is it a pseudonym? Alias?
It's an alias.
What's a pseudonym?
A pseudonym? Let's look it up. So you were correct. A pseudonym does apply to Liliana, kind of, but it's usually used for an author.
She wrote the book on 6-mana Planeswalkers.
She wrote the book on how to revive dead people.
Except Gideon. Let's go to Crackle with Power. It's a mythic rare. It's one of your go-to big mana sinks for X spells. If you've got a 75 mana in your mana pool, Crackle with Power for $5 says, and the game's over.
Yeah, exactly. Crackle with Power is just over the top, ridiculous. When you go off, it doesn't just kill people. Sometimes it just annihilates them off the face of the earth. Like,
it kills them in the next game, too.
You're talking about sometimes you're going up to like in the hundreds of damage when you really pop off with this card.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's kind of interchangeable with like Comet Storm, which is 0 cents. That card's pretty free. So it depends on how big you can go. The bigger you go, the better this is. But if you can only get to like 7, I guess I'd rather play Comet Storm.
Yeah, exactly. This one is a better finisher. The Crackle Power is the better finisher when you're going really big and you're trying to end the game. Comet Storm is
more of a castable card.
Yeah, and Comet Storm is more of a versatile card because you don't really want to go for a 1-for-1 for 5 mana with this. That's not very strong.
5 mana, 5 damage. Sign me up.
Yikes.
About Stormkiln Artist, this thing is Magecraft, make a treasure token. Does also go infinite with, I think, Haze of Rage, which is a sick little nasty combo. But it generates a bunch of mana. It's only $4, and it's an uncommon. I wonder if this will do like a Pitiless Plunder trajectory if unchecked.
Exactly, yeah. This card might be the actual best card from the set. Like, it is so...
pretty silly.
So good. And it doesn't matter what power level you're playing. You could be playing low power, high power. If you're slinging spells, this card absolutely goes off. Oh, man. The mana regeneration, turning all your spells into mini little rituals that get more mana.
Better than Goblin Electromancer, because it's like your spells cost 1 less, but you never waste the 1 less. It always sticks around.
It just sticks around, and it has synergies with tons of other things. Like, because these treasures aren't just mana; they're also permanents entering the battlefield. Artifacts. Oh, so much synergy. All right, next we got to move on because we could go on about Stormkiln forever. One of the most expensive one we're gonna say buying Beledros Witherbloom, currently $10. This card is awesome. I've seen nothing but good things out of this card. It's a big flyer, but you get to untap all your lands for 10 life. And you get to pass every single upkeep. Meaning you get every go around the table 4 pests that gain you life.
Yeah, this is one of the cards I got to just throw in a casual deck with no pressure and just like, whatever, let's see how it goes. And there's been some sick nasty turns I've assembled. I went like, there was a game where I was like, Mirari's Wake, Beledros Witherbloom, untap my lands, cast 4 spells, pass, start making pest tokens, and just dominated the game. Thanks to Beledros.
Yeah.
With the assist from Mirari's Wake.
Yeah. Beledros Witherbloom, being able to untap your lands makes it so it's just free.
Costs 0
when you
negative.
play. Yeah, it's a lot of life. Don't pretend like it's not. So you want to have some ways to gain life usually in this deck, but he does gain little chunks of life by himself.
Yeah, I mean, every turn he survives is 4 life you got in pest tokens, and he only cost 10 to untap, so it's really like 6 to untap, and that's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, next is the best card in CDH for sure from this set.
Yeah, I changed my mind. This is the best card from the set.
I think that Stormkiln is a better commander card overall. But in CDH, it's not close. Culling Ritual at $2 is absurd.
I've had nothing but amazing experiences with Culling Ritual, no matter when I played it or what power level it was. It's always like, destroy all the things you want to destroy. Here's 7 mana.
The card is so
good.
It's so good, and it overperforms every single time. Like I did this in CDH in a game that was on like turn 6, blew up, got 17 mana, and then won from there because it was a big ritual that won me the
7 drops.
Exactly.
And it's like drew your whole deck.
Exactly. Yeah. I appeared into the abyss off of that mana to win the game with a ton of backup. It's like, okay, and no, I did that because this card is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think at any power level, this is so worth $2, and it's the card that I'm like stunned is only $2.
Yes. This next one, I think, is an underplayed commander card. Now, it's in 5% of the decks it can be in, which is not too bad. It's Expressive Iteration, currently $4, seeing play in Modern, so that's keeping the price up for sure.
Is it banned in Pioneer?
It is banned in Pioneer. this card's great. I really think you always draw 2 cards for 2 mana, and that is a good rate. The fact that it lets you hit land drops almost always locks in the fact that you're not whiffing on this. And the later into the game you play it, the more likely you are to just hit spells and just cast spells off it and put something else in your hand. This card, I really do think this is a vastly underplayed card. I've had it in a very casual deck, and it does nothing but always draw 2 cards.
Yeah, I can see this getting reprinted even a couple times. It's still holding value, so I don't feel bad picking it up at $4. If there is no reprint, who knows? $8 a year from now, that would feel bad to pick up.
Yeah, exactly. So if it keeps, it will keep going up if it doesn't get a reprint, right?
It costs more than Prismari Command, which is only $3, which is also a really good card. But that card I think has gotten reprinted already at least once. This thing has a lot of different modes. It's the same bailout as Kulagon's Command, though. You can Shatter and Shock, which is a straight up 2-for-1. Or Shatter and then draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. There's a lot going on with Prismari Command.
Yeah, also something about Prismari Command that I really like is you don't have to need to want to interact to play it, because you can get the draw 2, make a treasure.
Yeah, just store mana, filter cards.
Yeah, exactly. Prismari Command is super solid. This is another one where it doesn't matter what power level you're at, this card just performs. There's always artifacts to blow up. There's always small creatures to get rid of. If you have synergy with the treasure or you have synergy with the draw discard, I'm 100% in for Prismari Command. All right, let's move on to the last set, Avengers in the Forgotten Realms, which is definitely my least favorite of the 4 sets that we are covering, but still have some cool cards from it. First, we have Teleportation Circle at $3. You're just flickering stuff at the end of the turn. This is the best version of Conjurer's Closet we have. Conjurer's Closet is a passable, playable card. Teleportation Circle is next level because not only is it 1 less mana, it also bounces artifacts if you need to.
It's like this and Thassa. Thassa is indestructible, and this hits artifacts too. So this goes into more decks. It's been solid. Certainly an upgrade over Conjurer's Closet, which I basically never play. And then I'll sometimes play this card. So at $3, I've got my eye on it.
It's a flicker deck. It's a 100% only a flicker deck kind of card. But if you have a flicker deck, Teleportation Circle, solid at $3. The only blue card I can find to put on here.
This set is not great.
This is not the best set. It's Demi Lich at $2. I think this card is really cool when you can actually get it to be free, which is often in your Spell Slinger decks.
Cast 4 spells is free, right?
Yeah, cast 4 spells, it's free. It can also be recast from your graveyard, which is super awesome too. And every turn, the main issue with this card is it needs to attack, and it's a 4/3 that needs to get in.
But even if it dies, you can just bring it back.
You can't bring it back. And when it attacks, you get a trigger to play something for free from your graveyard, so you get a lot of value there.
Yeah, it's all right. I think this is going to be one of the cards you choose from. You're going to have like 3 or 4 flex slots that are, you don't care what type they are in your spells deck. So it's a creature in your spells deck, but as long as you put it in the right slot, it could be one of your several, creature that makes spells functionally slots.
Yeah, and it can be in, like you said, and like we said, it can be 0 mana. Next, a card I've been testing and I've been having a lot of fun with. I think it actually it's performed way out of its league, considering I thought this was like a D-.
I might still think that.
It's Louth, Spider Queen, at $7. She comes down, she usually just makes some spiders, and whenever a creature you control dies, it gets a loyalty. Now, it's easy to ult, but the ult doesn't really do much.
I think the ult's pretty bad.
It is pretty bad. I don't think it's that good, but I think the fact that this can just keep producing spiders really easily, your creatures dying is what gives it loyalty, and it'll draw a card every turn when you don't need to make spiders for a while. Is an okay card. Is this busted? No. Don't let me tell you that Louth is not a card that I'm like, wow, you need this in all your black deck. It's like Louth is a cool and fun card.
Like the other Lily, we would say is more worth $7.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah, the other Lily is definitely more worth $7, but this is a cooler card.
Yeah, the thing about Louth, I don't think this is the card's that great, but the thing that I think is interesting about it is it's got like this weird thing that most Planeswalkers don't have, where if you just play Louth and you just like destroy all creatures, now she's just at like 12, and she's kind of actually hard to kill. And then from there, you can eke out those extra turns that most Planeswalkers would not have remained in play to like draw an extra card or 2 or make like 4 to 8 extra power, which could be sweet. I think if it sticks around, super worth 5 mana, 2 1s for 5 that just dies, I would be trying to avoid that scenario.
Yeah, you make sure you can protect it. This is not don't just throw this in a deck. She needs to be protected.
Yeah, you don't want to play Spider Spawning for 2.
No, that's not a good card. Next, we have Vorpal Sword, which is only $1. This thing is just a silly card. It equips your creature gets a little buff, but then you pay this big giant cost.
I think it's 100.
It's a one-shot.
You get one shot.
It's one of the coolest cards. It's definitely not one of the coolest cards. It's just the coolest card in the whole set. It's super silly. It's over the top, and it's ridiculous.
This one might be overlooked a little bit. It's kind of like how, if it was just a 2 mana 2/2, then there was a 2 mana 2/2 that said pay 100, scry 1. Like that card's better. but a lot of people avoid that card. I think people are overlooking this as like a really cheap way to just give a creature Death Touch. And then it has more words on it. Who cares if I get the kill? Some decks just want Death Touch.
Yeah, but even on top of that, if you have like a commander with trample, how is this thing getting stopped? It's
How
not.
are you not dealing damage to them?
Exactly. And it's like they have to make a choice. Like, you have to activate this. It's like they have to block. Like, it forces this creature to be blocked if you have the mana to activate, because they can't let it through.
Yeah, if you have a 5/5, throw this on there. Now they need 8 creatures to block a Trampler? That's not happening.
And if you have a treasure deck, then you should get Zorn for $2.
Definitely.
Zorn is just whenever you make a treasure, make an additional treasure with that. Solid. Literally only treasure decks. You're not going anywhere else with this, but it's super solid in that archetype.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like this developing deck of like blue-red spell slingers that also makes treasure, because you have like 7 different spells that say, oh, as additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card, make 1 or 2 or 3 treasure tokens. And then there's like the Stormkiln Artist, which you just talked about, which is nuts with Zorn. I wonder if Zorn can go in some of those decks and just make like 1,000 treasures. Prismari Command.
Yeah, I mean, you're literally just talking about Strixhaven.
Well, it's like, yeah, but now we're just turning like our Spellslinger deck into like a treasure Spellslinger deck.
Yeah, because like Galazeth Prismari cares about treasures as well.
Yeah, he does. But I'm even thinking like Unexpected Windfall, which was, I think, in D&D also.
Okay, yeah. The D&D combination with Strixhaven will get
There's your treasure deck.
Yeah,
Spellslinger treasure.
Yep, and next we have Maraschiello.com, the best deck building website on the whole entire internet, and it's not even remotely close.
So many people are like, dang it, my guess was way too early. Can't believe it, but I also can't believe how efficient and easy this deck is to use. This deck building website, I call it a deck for short.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
deck, period. Yeah, deck building website. You use it, build all of your decks, use all of its awesome tools. I love all the ways that you can use to view the cards. The visual grid. You can just look at text. Some people just don't need to see the card. See, for me, I need to see the card. I need to see the art so I know what it does. Because like the art connects right to my brain. It says exactly what the card does. And Maraschiello.com just lets you have that view, and it looks so good. And people, but again, sort by mana value, sort by cost.
For this video, you're gonna want to sort by price to make sure all these cards are like affordable, and you can go, oh yeah, okay, Zorn is only $2, so I could buy this deck for like $60.
Yes. Okay. So Maraschiello.com, best deck building website. If you're building decks, if you're building decks online, use the best deck. Maraschiello.com.
Yeah. How about the next one, which is Circle of Dreams Druid, aka Gaia's Cradle in a mustache Groucho mask, because it's $5, and it's just the text of Gaia's Cradle, but you got to tap it, but it's a creature, so it's got summoning sickness. This is explosive, and I feel like it might be underplayed or underpriced, because this card's just good, right? So I never see it.
So if a Groucho mask costs 3 green mana, then
Groucho Mask is 3 green mana and also the creature type, because that's what the disguise is.
The Groucho Mask is a creature. Okay,
you can't put a Groucho Mask on a tree and have it be a land still.
You could. I mean, it's a little fairy that has his butt hanging out in the original guy's
indecent.
Card. Ooh, yeah, so indecent.
The children's card game. Okay, this card's really good. If you're going wide, play it in your deck. I think this is an underplayed card.
It makes a lot of mana. I think it might be a little underplayed, but 3 mana dorks are a lot. You have to untap with it.
You get paid off.
It only has one toughness, making it easy to kill. And it costs 3 green pips. So, like, there is downsides to this card. Now, once you actually untap with it and you get it going, obviously this card is ridiculous, over the top, and it'll pop off.
Plus, it's an elf, so if you haven't put it in all your elf ball decks, this is your reminder to do that.
Yeah, 100% goes in your elf ball.
Give it haste.
Yep. Next is the most expensive card, I think, like, on this whole list.
In any list we've ever done.
From last video and this video, and it's Old Gnawbones at $30. This was a card that we said was good when we saw it, but it's great. The fact that this effect just has haste is...
Big old eye roll when you see it.
It's so good. It is a ridiculously strong card, much like... Well, I don't remember what we talked about earlier, where you just get your mana back. Witherbloom. Bellageous Witherbloom we talked about. This is just like that. You pay the 7 mana, then if you can get in 7 damage, okay, you got the 7 mana back right away. The
only thing I'll say about this card is I think Clouth is better, but some decks can't play Clouth, and some decks want both really, really badly. You got to kill this card immediately, or you're going to just have a 10-minute turn on your hands.
Yeah, you're right. Clouth might be better, but also, like you said, this is only a mono green, and it has treasure synergies for any deck that cares about treasures at all.
Yeah, obviously buy Clouth, but not technically in D&D. Was never involved in standard rotation, so we're not talking about it here.
No, not at all. Next, we have Werewolf Pack Leader for $3. When it attacks, if you're attacking with 6 total power, you draw a card. I think this thing draws cards really easily, comes down early, it has synergies in your werewolf decks.
It certainly does. I think this is going to be one that I'm going to keep my eye on, because I don't think it saw play anywhere else ever. except for standard as a 2-mana 3/3 with more words on it. Maybe this will be down to $1 at some point. This would be one that I'm looking at to maybe eventually become part of a budget deck and draw a few cards.
Yeah, I think it's super easy to draw with this. Like you don't have to jump through a lot of hoops.
You're probably going to untap with it. I would feel pretty safe about untapping with Werewolf Backleader.
Yeah, and this thing costs 2 mana, and it has 3 toughness and 3 power, meaning it's going to usually trade up. It's not trading down very often.
I suppose, yeah. Keep it on your radar. Keep it on your radar. There's only one more. What is it?
It is Treasure Vault at $5. This is an artifact land, only makes colorless mana, but you can pay XX, tap, sacrifice it, and get a bunch of treasures.
This card has been amazing. I think you really just auto-play it in any deck that wants a high artifact count where you're playing like Vault of Whispers or whatever. Anyway, this is just better than all those. This has a lot of like tiny upsides, and I've been super happy with it every time.
Yeah, like you said, you've been happy with it almost every time. Like just like your artifact lands, there's that 1 out of like 10 games where you'll get blown out and it'll feel terrible. Vandal Blast will come down. You're like,
darn.
Oh, that sucks. And that's going to happen some games. You have to accept that. But the fact is, in the other 9 games that aren't that 1 out of 10 game, you're just getting an awesome land, comes in untapped, and has synergy with your deck.
Yeah, it says like, 10 different spells in your deck are now 1% to 5% better just because you played this land for no mana and no investment at all. Super sweet. Definitely one of these shining beacons of D&D. And if you're wondering, what are the shining beacons of Zendikar Rising and Kaldheim? There's a video right here. We're talking all about the best cards to buy from those sets for rotation.
Peace out, Tribe Scouts.